Arcane is asking a question. How can you lucid dream? He hasn't had a lucid dream and he wants to know how he can get one. Anybody, any good advice?
Sure. Listen to all of Layla's videos. Yeah, we'll start doing that.
There's a lot of noise now. Marta, did you want to say something?
No, I said keeping a dream journal. I think it's the first stepping stone to lucid dreaming.
Definitely a dream journal, and then start doing some reality checks.
Yes, I believe that keeping a dream journal is one of the most important basics, because even if you have a lucid dream, you will forget it if you have a weak dream memory. So I think a strong memory of dreams is the first thing you want to have.
Agree.
Then you can go on with the your all-day awareness, which means that you keep being aware of your reality during the day, to do reality checks as much as you can. I believe that helped me a lot, because you start to differentiate between the dream reality and this physical reality. So yeah, these are one of the most important steps to take as a beginner.
I hope that answered your question, Arcane. Another question that I saw in the comments below our video stream was from Derek. Lucid dream. Someone has their speaker on. Pretty loud. Myself double right now. Someone was saying to them, lucid dreaming and astral projection is pretty much the same. What do you guys think on that?
I've talked about this a few minutes ago, and like I said, the only difference I see until now is the way we enter this kind of state. Because when I enter the astral projection, every time I enter it, there's a really strong vibration throughout the body, and I don't know if some people would call it it's similar to the wake-induced lucid dream, like the wild. But this is as a really beginner of astral projection, I cannot be qualified to make any to differentiate between the two. So that's only my opinion for now.
Anybody else?
Well, they're definitely different, astral travel and lucid dreaming.
Yeah, I experience them differently as well. I already mentioned that, and the differences that I experience. You know, one more thing, talking more about if I could ever reach the potential where I can do any sort of experience verification, is that would be a huge difference if you could interact with the real world and actually come back with knowledge that means something, or that you can apply to your physical life, or that you can verify to say this was a real experience. That would be a huge difference. I just, like I said, haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, that's what I would expect to get out of astral projections.
Let me ask the group a question. Have any of you ever gone up in the spirit, in your spirit, been conscious, and experienced another person's mind and downloaded everything they know, and they take everything you know, and you come back with it and you can remember it? If any, I do that all the time. That's real possible. In fact, it's easy to do. I actually done it with Layla when I first came to her site. She met me in the spirit and showed me all about her astral stuff, and I kind of touched her last life. I didn't see it all. And that's a true spiritual teacher. They'll meet you in the astral, but you got to contact with them down here. But and what it is, it gets back almost into a little bit of religion. And like Eckhart told it, you got to be right in the moment, experiencing everything right now. No thoughts about the past, none about the future. And boom, you'll see it all right there. It's all right there.
I've had an experience kind of like that.
Okay,
So,
what's your
So I had a projection once, and this has only happened to me once. It was really interesting. But when I'm out of body, I don't communicate with words and the way you physically communicate. It's more telepathic and more communicating with thoughts. And so I had this experience where I actually went into somebody else's house, and this lady walked in, and when I touched her, it was like she was injecting memories and thoughts into my head. And so it was almost like I'm downloading memories of some different life that I don't recall. And I was trying as hard as I could to try to place these memories and figure out where they came from and how I was a part of them. But I was basically downloading memories from her head and then projecting thoughts back into her mind. It was an interesting form of communication.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But
That's
was this
wow.
through lucid dreaming or astral projection?
For me, that was projection.
I feel like I should have a conversation with Bill later on and find out what kind of information he downloaded from me, the astral.
Oh, it was just about, I could have looked at your whole life, but I never do that. That's private. You just gave me some information on lucid dreaming, and like I say, within a few days I've been lucid dreaming. But I also use your method of I know my spirit guide. We've melded chakras, everything, and I just talk to her, and she's way advanced. She doesn't incarnate anymore, and most of us here have been at least 200 incarnations, every person here or more. But so and I know she helps me a lot, and but I try and get everything. If you're in the grocery store and there's a bunch of stuff on sale and you got the money, buy it, put it in your cart and get out and run, keep it. But that's a huge secret, meeting other people. But the best way, I'll tell you, the best way to learn to astral travel is to meet someone you're attracted to and go up there and become one, raise your chakras together up to your crown chakra and go into bliss. You'll be astral traveling from then on. Boom. You'll totally awaken to the whole thing, and it will just start happening for you.
Have you done that with a woman that you know?
Oh, many times, and I want to tell you, there's rules. I'm married, and I'm totally faithful to my wife. We've been married 35 years, and I live the 10 Commandments. But up in the astral, of course, there's astral love, and you'll meet up maybe with ex-husbands or wives, all sorts of things, your spirit guide. And you'll meet people down here, up there, and you may have a little love affair up there. But a little bit affects down here. You have to be pure down here in order to do that. And I do that all kinds of stuff. Something I won't even mention, they're too precious. And you'll have your own precious things if you'll open up to it. And let me tell you, in Flying Without a Broom, she thoroughly explains all of that. It's the only book I know that is that good, and that she'll go through all that. She has another book called Astral Love, but and it's like 50 cents on Amazon. I'll put both links, and if anyone wants, I'll put my email there. If you want to email me, I'll email you Flying Without a Broom on a PDF for free.
I have a question for you both.
Yes.
So, obviously, since we've experiences like I just shared with this weird false awakening, I'm dreaming about astral projection, it's not happening, I'm stuck in a dream and all that kind of crazy stuff that happens to me. I mean, I had like one or two experiences that I thought they could potentially be astral projections, but really looking back, I don't think they were, like these particular ones that I remember. But I remember a special kind of dream, like very, very distant dreams where I'm literally in very, astral places, like on different planets, and I'm meeting up people, and I'm going there, checking on their houses. Like, I know it's like worlds that I go to, like almost like a parallel universe. And I know where they live, and I go there on a regular basis, and I'm checking up on them, and almost like I'm a kind of helper or whatever, and they tell me, oh, this and this happened, and I remember like their lives, and because I check up on them, and it all funnels into a coherent story. And those are the kind of really distant dreams that are a little bit different, where I'm thinking, wow, am I maybe astral projecting during almost like 50% of my dream life, and those are just really few dreams that I hardly remember?
I would honestly say you were astral projecting there. And can I give you a quick example of one of my experiences? And I have hundreds of them, but
Yeah.
I probably know at least 25 people that I'm very familiar with, and we astral travel together in the higher worlds. But let me tell you one. There's one I love to go to, and there's actually, the country of India is spoiled now, but there's a spiritual India, and it's completely pristine and virgin. All the wildlife is there. All temples are there too. And you can go into the temples and see all the things. Everything's in its purest form. Krishna's around there and all sorts of things. Even though I'm a Christian, I'm not a Hindu, but I still enjoy Hinduism. But anyway, I have a friend, and we go there, and like if you want to get energized, there's these like hot pools of they're like hot springs, but they're different. When you go in, it completely re-energizes you, and you usually wind up in having a romantic encounter, and just things like that. And another thing is, there's, why, like the Bible says, the lion will lay down with the lamb. Up there, there's a fruit, and it kind of looks like an avocado, but it's not. And when you eat it, it's like you ate a most delicious hot roast dinner. And that's why the lions and stuff eat that fruit instead of killing animals up there. And I'm telling you, it just goes on and on. I went up one time where the angels are, and they have like all these clocks, and they run the universe perfectly. And I got a tour of it, and I went there with a person who studies the Urantia book. It's too confusing for me. But I went up there and saw how the angels help God run the whole universe. And so it just goes on forever, anything you can imagine. And if you have a relationship up there, it's 100 times better than down here. That's why I say, well, a lot of stuff is precious. You will never share it. But what I love is solving problems. Like I helped a friend of mine about her husband, doing those things. Every time it's right on. Never have a problem. Give people the information. And if you're actually, astral traveling in it and connecting with your higher self and your spirit guide, it's 100% accurate. And that's the kind of proof that made me realize it wasn't fantasy, it was all real. And that's your job. Once all of you learn, and you'll learn, it's easy to learn, it's not hard, then you should start helping others as, life brings people into your path. You can help them to astral travel or things like that. I'm right now currently met a lady on Facebook and on a political place. And so she's been meeting me in the astral. I've been teaching her how to do Kundalini yoga and astral travel. And she's been showing me a lot of things. And everybody's advanced. Everybody has something really important to share with you, and they're advanced. If you can meet them in the astral, they even if their conscious self doesn't know it, it's worth it. If the person isn't talking to me about those kind of things down here in the world, I don't say anything. I just stay friends with them on whatever level it is down here, and at night go off with them into the astral. And that's where I've learned all these fantastic places. Just regular people. I'd be talking to them down here that night. I'll meet them, and they'll take me someplace beautiful. And once you go, you know how to get back there after that. And you have to realize there's billions and billions of galaxies. I love what that famous artist said, anything you can imagine is real. And
That's true. We just got a new visitor. Hi, Albert. You're currently muted, but you want to join the conversation? Go ahead and unmute yourself and say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name's Albert. I'm from the Netherlands. Hope you can hear me, because haven't used the mic on my laptop quite often yet.
Perfect.
At the moment, it's a 11:15 here in the Netherlands, so it might be a little bit later than it is at your guys' address. But quite interested in what all of you got to say about lucid dreaming and astral projection. So I'm curious on what you all got to tell.
That's cool. Are you a lucid dreamer?
Well, I think it's since a year or two now that I've been trying to get lucid. Well, not as frequently as I would want, of course, but usually once a month or something like that. Usually, well, that works, but still trying to get the hang of it all.
That's nice. How about astral projection?
Haven't had the experience with it just yet. I think the only time I experienced something like it was once on a Saturday morning. I was lying in bed and I had a kind of experience that I felt my body being at two places at the same time. I was laying in a stretched out position in bed, but I felt my arms were above my head at the same time. It was like feeling four arms at the same time. It was pretty strange. But that was the only thing I felt something close to that.
That's cool. You have any question you want to ask the people? I guess Face Revolution would be the expert on astral projection along with Bill, or about lucid dreaming. Anything you want to share?
Well, I think at the moment, I think for me, the most difficult part is becoming lucid, but at the moment for me, the most difficult part is increasing my lucidity. It's like multiple YouTubers I've seen talk about the different layers of lucidity, being from a level 0 or 1 level lucid dream to a level 4. And I noticed I'm kind of stuck in between a level 1 and 2, and I'm still trying to learn to get higher up in the levels so that once I get a little bit more clarity in my dreams, I can start doing my own lucid objectives and continue on from there. So that's kind of the trick, trying to figure out what works.
Do you do any sort of deepening techniques?
Not quite sure, because most of the things I've read about in the different types of books, Robert Wagner's books are ones that appeal to me quite a bit. And I think the most techniques I did to stabilize it and deepen it a bit was more like paying attention to the surroundings, touching the environment, trying to remember the objectives. But the problem is, the most times when I'm in a lucid dream, it feels like I'm mostly drunk and I can't remember objectives. So before I get to the objectives I want to do, it's either that I lose lucidity or I get kicked out of the dream. So that makes it a little bit more difficult.
I know exactly what you're talking about with the feeling drunk. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
So
well,
I can tell you what I do to fix that. It's similar to what you're doing, so it sounds like you're doing some of what I do. Basically, when I get lucid, I immediately just try to reach around and grab everything that's in my environment, and I'll pick things up and I'll feel them from every different angle, and don't stay on one object too long. Pick it up, look at it really closely, smell it, lick it, shove it in your mouth, chew it up, swallow it, and then move to the next thing, grab another thing, and do the same thing. And if that doesn't work, then I'll try to engage like all my 5 senses at the same time. And I'll tell you, this works for me every time, but it's kind of a goofy technique. I dive face first down onto the floor, and I start doing like, the snow angel that the kids do in the snow, rubbing my arms, my legs on the carpet, and rubbing my face all over the carpet. And there will be times where it works. There's times where it clears it up to the point where I think that I've woken myself up, because I'm like, oh, I overdid it. Now I'm awake, but it's really that lucidity has just become clear.
Awesome. No, and that's been a pretty long time for me ago since I had a lucid dream with the kind of clarity you were talking about. It was the weirdest part, because usually my lucid dreams always start in my old bedroom at my parents' house from years ago. And the one time I had it, I had metal bars in the door frame, and I needed to get out of the bedroom to continue. So I ran face first into the metal bars, kind of hurt. But then I got really annoyed about the fact I couldn't get out of the door, so I simply took a leap, bounced through the metal bars, like these simply didn't exist anymore. But as soon as I got out of the front door, suddenly everything became a lot more clear. I touched the door frame, touched the trees outside my door, but suddenly outside the entire sky was like a midnight sky with the northern light, and also a strange chain of like purple crystal all the way through the sky. And it was like the entire environment became crystal clear for at least 1 or 2 minutes. But then I got kicked out of the dream, so I had to start all over again. That was a little bit frustrating, but that was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You guys have audio problems, or do you hear everybody really clear?
At the moment, I can hear
I
you
hear-
guys fine.
Oh my god,
You're fine.
I'm gonna mute this guy. Arcane is, I don't know why, but he's making noises, so I just muted him. So weird. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it seems like he needs attention, but So yeah, lucid dreaming, what I used to do for stabilization, that's really good, is rubbing your hands. So, I mean, just like it works in the real life, you know, to just like get the blood flowing and you focus on your hands. In the lucid dream, it really helps to stabilize. You don't get kicked out as fast, and then you really, it pulls yourself into the dream body more, and everything becomes a little bit more real. And the second thing that really helps is just kind of like shouting out, like, clarity now,
Yeah.
the above,
Yeah,
and all of a
this
sudden
one.
it's like, oh, HD, and then more clarity now, and then it's like, oh wow, Ultra HD, nice. You know?
True.
You
I
know,
once had that trick work out for me. I did the same thing you just said, calling out to the sky that I wanted more clarity. But the fun part was I had 2 dream characters standing to my left, just staring at me. What kind of a weirdo are we having here in the streets? Let's get out of here. That was awesome. I really left my ass off of that one.
well, that was your subconscious mind kind of standing like next to you and being like, dude, you're weird.
Yeah, right. But indeed, what you said, the rubbing hands together, that's a pretty good trick. Tried it a few times, at least as long as I remembered to do it in a dream. And in the beginning, a few months ago, the trick that also seemed to work for me was the spinning around in one place. But the only problem with that one was I read about is that spinning around in a dream forces you to enter another location, and if your mind has to recreate a new environment, it has to become more active than it needs to in a dream and has a bigger chance to waking you up.
Indeed, but that mostly causes in false awakenings. So, like, you should be aware of the new environment. So it sometimes will be your bed, your own bed, or the place you slept in. So you have to do a reality check as soon as you enter this new environment after you spin around. You span around.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. That's something to be aware of. I guess that's a good trick. For me, spinning around puts me in this weird kind of void state where I'm just like in a black room, almost Matrix-like, and then I'm like, okay, so now what? And then I have to really work hard to consciously recreate a dream scene.
Hmm.
Sometimes I would just wake up, so I don't like to risk it. Usually if I want to, that's one question of one guy who wrote me before that event. He was actually asking how to create like dreamscapes. And one thing that I've been doing really recently, and I haven't made a video about it, it kind of turned into an addiction, into a new lucid dreaming addiction, where you find something that you really like and you keep doing it, and you're like, can I please stop wasting lucid dreams on this? Like, I have experienced something new. This is just childish. Let's just do something reasonable, but for whatever reason, when I see mirrors in dreams, when I see people, I like to jump into them and use them as a portal to get transported somewhere else, which is so stupid and weird. But it's really nice because you just transport yourself to a new place.
Yeah. Well, if it works, can you describe when you're saying you're spinning around makes you enter like in an empty room. The things that I've experienced, but that maybe because of the expectation effect I've read about a couple of times in the books of Robert Wagner. The thing with spinning around my axle is when I start doing it, I see like a spiral of green light in front of my eyes, keep spinning around me. But as long as I keep in my mind a basic thought of where I want to go, I usually end up there. I wanted to try some basic lucid dreaming techniques, and I just thought about I want to go to a quiet, calm place, and I ended up in something like a public park with a big pond in the middle and a great grass landscape. And I just sat on a park bench next to a very old guy and had a good conversation with him, and gave me a couple of tips that I shouldn't become angry in a lucid dream for the next time. Worked out pretty well. But indeed, also the technique you say from jumping through a mirror, haven't tried that one yet, because usually when I find a mirror, my reflection is kind of annoyed and stares pissed off back at me. So that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Have you guys ever looked into a mirror in a lucid dream?
No, it's on my
No,
list
have you?
actually. I've never really done it.
Personally, I always forget to do that. When you're lucid dream, you really have many stuff to do. Like you really forget to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the forgetting problem is also an issue that I have. Remembering all your lucid objectives, you write them down in the morning, and the next night, like I said before, it feels like being drunk. You can't remember a single thing in the dream. That's kind of a problem.
The thing I do in like maybe 99.9% of my lucid dream is flying. That's the first thing I do, because it's really so easy. You can like just imagine flying and just fly. So
That's one of my favorite things to do as well.
What I really like about all this is, all the things you're saying are loads of fun, but I like to take it a little further and get something more out of it. And maybe Layla would explain how you used I've listened to all your videos, but I don't quite remember you explaining how you used lucid dreaming to come from Germany to America. And you didn't just come to America, you came to one of the most high-class, expensive places in the whole United States, where you live right now, down there on the beach. And that was quite an accomplishment. And I know you used lucid dreaming to do that, right?
Well, again, I feel like this would be such a long explanation. I don't want to spam this hangout with this, but I'll probably make a video on it, and it will be something that I recommend highly. If you have like a high level of lucidity, go and ask the dream questions. That's amazing. And one of my favorite questions was, what is the purpose of my life? And I'm not going to tell you the story, but I can tell you, like, I got the most profound answer to this question. It's mind-blowing, and it entails another precognitive dream that is so insane and so precise and so random.
So it made sense to you?
Yes. I actually saw, like, before I even started actually thinking about my plan, what to do here, I asked what's the purpose of my life, and it literally told me in an encrypted way, you will be a student at an American university, but you're not going to be associated with any kind of fraternity or sorority. You're just going to be like your individual student, doing your own thing. Before I even started the whole application process, before I even looked into universities and stuff like that, I got that from a dream, and another answer as well, which was more into the direction of you're going to be a godmother. So basically taking care of people or of children that come from really bad families, like people that go to Africa and they build camps to help children and build schools and stuff like that. Like, that's your purpose in life, to be a kind of godmother and do something good. So those two things, I got that from a lucid dream, and one already turned out to be exactly like that. I'm in a university in America. I'm not in a fraternity or a sorority, and yeah, I'm loving it.